Roger Huang was alone in his apartment, trying to get some sleep between his two jobs. His family was out at the time, his wife Maite, the woman of his dreams, his 4 children. He was working 2 jobs, he had plenty of money, and so he thought, with all this going for me, everything I ever really wanted, why am I still so unhappy? Why am I so scared? And why do I still have this emptiness inside me? Roger was born in Taiwan in 1956, but as he grew up, his father abused him physically, emotionally, and psychologically. His mother wasn't much better. She refused to intervene, and she neglected him. When he got out of the house and went to school, things weren't much better because his teachers were cruel and seemed to enjoy punishing him. When he was a teenager, the family moved to San Francisco. But things didn't get much better. The abuse continued. He didn't fit in well in the American schools. When Roger was 17, he left that home, left the abuse behind, and began living on the streets. He got a job as a busboy in a restaurant and slowly worked his way up the ladder till he eventually became an accountant for 2 restaurants. He met a girl, Maite, got married, started a family, and they were living a great life on the outside. 10 years after leaving home, he was still trying to prove his worth. He was still trying to prove his father wrong when his father kept telling him, "You're a nothing, you're a nobody, you'll never amount to anything, you're an idiot." All his life he lived with abuse, rejection, fear, anger, and hatred. Why couldn't he get past them? As Roger lay there trying to sleep, and the TV kept waking him up, he realized it was a preacher on TV telling him about God. He said, "God has loved you since the day you were born. He has never stopped loving you. But you've been running scared. You've got this emptiness inside. You're lost and alone. You've been trying to fill that emptiness with booze, or one-night stands, or working a bunch of jobs and trying to get a lot of money, but nothing fills that emptiness. You need to say yes to Jesus." That day, Roger did say yes to God, and he started on a lifelong journey of trying to know more and more about God and grow closer and closer to Him. After a few years, God called him to start ministering in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, one of the most difficult, drug-infested, crime-ridden areas of the city. And as Roger began working with the people there, ministering to them, his whole family joined in. He began to see real value in what God was doing in their lives, but also in his life. Jesus once said, "I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly." That means a lot of things, but one thing it certainly means is to take on God's characteristics, to enjoy the qualities that He expresses: love, joy, hope, and peace, but also faith, endurance, character, and the list goes on. Only by growing closer to Him can you really have those qualities. You should know that God wants to give this abundance to each of His children. No matter what your situation is, no matter your past, it doesn't matter. God wants you to have an abundant life. It's one of the great benefits of becoming one with God. Think about it. Is your life filled with hope, or do you still experience a lot of rejection, pain, and worry? Is your life filled with love, or is it really empty and you're still scared? Is your life filled with loneliness, sadness, and despair, or do you have the joy of knowing God? And how about turmoil, conflict, and anxiety? Or do you experience peace that God wants to bring? When Roger turned to God and let Him begin filling his life, he filled it with things like love, joy, peace, and all the rest. He removed the loneliness and despair, the anger and hatred he felt toward his father, and the emptiness that kept eating away at him. You can experience the same things when you grow in oneness with God. It's one of the great benefits of knowing God, growing closer, and becoming one with Him. See you next time.